First question on the right side.
Steph, Reed Forgrave with CBS. How do you keep your confidence from spilling into arrogance, especially when, from us in the media, it's almost like this narrative of certainty around you guys?
I don't know. We try to come into every day understanding like none of this is guaranteed for us. There's a lot of talk and appreciation for how hard it is to win a championship and all that goes into it throughout the journey, throughout the regular season, the playoff chase. So for us, this year's been interesting with ups and downs and injuries, and even in the playoffs as of late, having how we started games, coming out of the gate slow and fighting our way back in the second half. All that stuff is just a part of continue to grow and find ways to motivate yourself, but stay appreciative of the moment, because I think that you saw that on all our faces after Game 7 of the Houston series, where this means a lot to us, and there's an appreciation for the difficulty to get back to this stage, let alone try to win 4 more games and win a championship. So we're living in the moment.
Second row on your right.
Anthony Slater with The Athletic. Steph, does the lack of a Finals MVP, has that ever gnawed at you, even in the summertime? And how much of a storyline do you expect that to potentially be as the series goes on?
Well, it took to the second question of my first media availability, so I'm pretty sure that narrative's going to take life, as it has since 2015. But it doesn't make or break my career or whatever you want to say looking back. If we win this championship and I don't win in Finals MVP, I'm going to be smiling just as wide, and just as big. But I'm going to play aggressively, confidently, with that right energy and motivation to help my team win. And usually when I'm in that mindset, good things happen. Whether that means it's a Finals MVP or not, who cares? But I'm going to be playing like it for sure.
Is the storyline more the people around you talking to you about it than maybe you yourself? Not even
people close to me. It's just that's kind of the nature of the beast, being on the stage 4 times in a row. You always got to look for what you don't have. There's always that thing about society. It's always looking at what can you attain, more and more and more. And that's fine. That's part of the beast. It's part of my motivation to try to get back to the stage, because I want more championships. But I've never really highlighted the individual type, even before my regular season MVPs. I never really attacked it as if that was the goal per se. Like I said, my values around how I play, good things usually happen for me and my team if I'm in that type of mindset.
Over here on the
You obviously had Melissa Rowan of the Bay Area News Group. Steph, you obviously had that really interesting quote the other night about how the team could have splintered in that specific moment. Have there been other times throughout the playoffs or this season where you felt that?
Not really, not in that heated of a moment, and that was kind of do or die with our season on the line. But it was a special moment for us, and I think one that we'll look back if we get the job done over these next 2 weeks, where again there's an appreciation of all that goes into winning a championship and doing it by committee and making sure every guy, whether you're playing well or not, whether things are going your way or not, that we all bring something to the fold that have gotten us to 4 straight finals, and we've done it by appreciating everybody that's a part of that group. And I think that timeout, that 2.5 minutes was a special moment for us, and should give us some great momentum going into the series.
What wasn't said in terms of, obviously there was no finger pointing, but what exactly was said? Did somebody step up and say something that really made a difference for you guys in that moment?
It's kind of everybody just getting the anxiety off their chest. I don't remember, I can't transcribe everybody's comments, but I think at the end of the day, all I said was, we got it off our chest, let's move on, let's win a basketball game. And let's do it together. Sounds very Disney Channel type movies, but that's what we needed to kind of just turn the page and focus on the game and how we were going to win.
Steph, Janie McCauley from Associated Press. How do you describe the spectacular third quarters and what it has taken for you guys to do that? And also, are you encouraged that maybe you guys haven't put together the perfect game yet and you still have a chance to do some of that?
I honestly have no idea what it is about the third quarters besides just sticking with the process, understanding that, basketball is made of 48 minutes, and at any point it could break open for us. You don't want to dig yourselves holes in the first half, first quarter, like we've done the last 2 games, but we've stuck with it and we haven't got defeated, and that's a good sign for us that if we can, and a part of that too is Houston was a great team in that sense, and like there's not discrediting what they were able to do to impact the game early. It just took us a while to kind of get settled and get in. It wasn't all just us kind of just messing around, but for us, to your point, if we can, come out of the gate strong with the right intentions and execution, and get off to a good start, and then sustain that effort as well over 48 minutes, then we could have one of those moments in time where everything's clicking, and hopefully that happens starting tomorrow.
Joe, second row.
Joe Varden, Cleveland.com. Steph, as you know, Kyrie's gone, and then on top of that, the Cavs you guys saw at Christmas, and then in January, half of those guys were traded too. So how do you look at this team now? You're seeing them for the 4th time, and is there anyone outside of LeBron that you fear?
That we fear?
Yeah, that you worry about.
I mean, yeah, it's a weird kind of dynamic thinking about. This is the 4th time in a row we've played, Cleveland in the finals. Obviously, LeBron's still there, and he's the Mr. Everything for them. And has been playing amazing over the whole regular season, and especially in these playoffs to kind of, I guess I've said, will his team back here. We've been watching a little bit of film this morning and trying to figure out how the other guys have kind of fit in around him, and where some of their tendencies are. And you look at Game 7, how when they played Boston, the way that Jeff Green played, the way that George Hill kind of managed the game when he had the ball in his hands, his defensive presence as well. Rejuvenated, Tristan Thompson. So let's see if Kevin Love is healthy or not. So there's the guys all around that can do things and make plays and are threats. But obviously everything starts with LeBron and trying to put up as much resistance as you can. And when he's on the floor, he's the factor that you got to worry about, and try to take the other guys out too.
Mark, last question here in the front.
Steph, 2 for you. Mark Schwartz, ESPN. To follow up on Joe's question, Saturday Night Live did a skit on how there's nobody on the Cavaliers except for LeBron James, and they were kind of making fun of the other players' contributions. I know the other day you kind of weighed in on that. What is it about that storyline and narrative that really rubs you the wrong way?
I mean, I think, we know how great LeBron is and what he's been able to do statistically, impacting the game, the stuff that maybe it's hard to say this, but stuff that doesn't show up in a stat sheet, even though most of the time it does, the stuff that the confidence he gives the other guys, I guess, when he's out there on the floor. But, defensively, energy-wise, those other guys, whatever you want to call it, they're important to the piece, and they're a new bunch that are still probably getting familiar with each other. Obviously, they've been together since February, learning on the go, and you can't. For us, our goal is just to try not to give them any confidence as we go forward in this series, and try to use our experience and our chemistry to our advantage as we go forward. Because they are talented guys. When they have the ball in their hands, they can make plays, and you got to be ready for everybody.
And secondly, in this series, there's 2 guys, one on each team, that you hear a lot about when they talk about intellect and basketball IQ. LeBron is certainly one. You faced him many times. Can you give some examples of things that he's done on the court that just blow your mind from that perspective? And on your team, the same about Draymond.
Yeah, they're just basketball junkies that know the history of the game, We were joking with Draymond knows every draft class from like 1987 to now, and all the different draft orders and whatnot. But when they're out there, they just make smart plays. I can't really document them how they go, but they're always just saying the right things, making winning plays, changing the game when they're out there. So they use the mental aspect of it to give themselves an advantage and an edge. And I'm glad we got Draymond on our side, obviously, and LeBron is who he is.
All right, thank you. Kevin will be right up.